Yeah, I guess it takes a little longer to go live when you're not expected to go live. But the Sports Bag Bros podcast is in an emergency session. There's some news that just came over the wire. It's boxing. Tell them what's going on, man.
So I came home from work, sat down on the couch to have my dinner, put on YouTube, and I saw first take clip or thumbnail saying Canelo announces his plans for 2024. So of course I watched it, and they said he's going to fight the other Charlo twin in May,
Jamal.
Cinco de Mayo weekend, whatever that falls on, and then Bud Crawford in September. I'm sure it's going to be Independence Week,
Yeah, it has to be.
which is no surprise on the dates. But he fought the first Charlo twin, made him come up 2 weight classes. He's going to fight the other Charlo brother, make him come up a weight class, and fight Bud Crawford and make him come up 3 weight classes. And we're having this show because that is weak as fuck. Fuck Canelo. Where are your balls, bitch?
You know
David
what?
Benavidez, no Bevo rematch. Not even thinking about better BF because he knows he would get knocked the fuck out.
You know what? For people who are coming into the chat, if you want to join in on this conversation, go ahead and do so. If you're a boxing fan, you probably likely want to do that as well. This is an emergency session because of this kind of news. Just recently.
Canelo's talented. He's too talented to be doing what he's doing. He's a fucking diva. So fuck him. He's acting like a bitch. He's embarrassing my people. You don't want to fight another tough ass Mexican. Where are your balls? That is my slogan, Canelo. Where are your balls?
You know what? There's validity to it as well, because not too long ago, he was talking about how Crawford wasn't even in his league in terms of just weight. Talent-wise, of course, we can look at that. Crawford is the one looking for all the smoke. He's going from 3 weight classes to get there if he does it at 168. I don't believe there'll be a catch weight if he goes to that fight. But he's taking on Charlo only because Charlo looked bad in his last fight. Benavidez is the one that we all want to see. After what Charlo had done in his last fight against Benavidez Jr., we don't think this will be a very good fight against Canelo now. I don't think Charlo's mind is in it. He was away for over 2 years before he just had this fight. Now, Canelo sees that. He wants to jump on that. And then the guy he did not want to jump onto, Crawford, because he has nothing but everything to lose, he wants to get on that game now.
So those 2 fights will complete his 3-fight commitment with PBC.
See,
I don't know what to say about PBC. I would not allow this. They're going to make money. Canelo's going to draw
He is.
a crowd. He's going to get pay-per-view buys. They're going to get paid regardless, but it's just weak as fuck.
It is, but they're going to get paid. As you said, I think they would have gotten more money with Benavidez, but you know what? I think I don't expect Charlo to beat him. I think his head is still out of the game. I think that Canelo still has enough to beat him at least. But with Crawford, there's enough buzz just because of the intrigue with the weight classes and Bud being what he is, undefeated, 2 guys coming together. That's going to bring more money than the Benavidez fight would have brought.
Possibly. I just can't see him going up 3 weight classes.
Oh, well, that's another story. See, I'm just saying from the standpoint of, does it make sense monetarily? Well, if it's about prize fighting and you're looking for the biggest prize in terms of money, doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest fight in terms of names that fight fans want to see. To make the big money, you need the mainstream people to come in. But since he's beaten Errol Spence, has become a more mainstream fighter now. He's not just diehard boxing fans or just regular boxing fans guy. Everyone knows him. And that's the money you need. Mainstream people, regardless of how Benavidez has fought so far, don't know him just yet. He's still a burgeoning superstar, but not quite there like Bud. Bud's going to bring that big-time money that you're going to need. Even if he wins or loses, if he wins, forget about it. Canelo's, he stepped in it with this one. But in the event that, worst-case scenario, everybody's getting paid.
Yeah, there's no other way to slice it. They're money fights. I don't know how much Charlo's going to generate. It's probably not going to create much of a buzz because most boxing fans know it's pretty much a cherry pick.
That one is.
Why pay $80, $90, whatever the price tag is going to be for an outcome you already know in advance? You know, watch the highlights on YouTube. Watch it a week later on whatever streaming service or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why or if you got the Fire Stick pirated. I don't know, but I don't think it's not going to create that big of a buzz. He beat one Charlo. It wasn't much of a fight.
But you had the storyline of the smaller Charlo moving up, trying to do something, daring to be great. Everything they were throwing out there,
be like,
oh, exciting fight.
People be like, oh, he beat one brother, he's gonna beat the other brother. He's coming up in weight also. I don't think most people are gonna think he poses much of a challenge. And then for the boxing people, he's got outside the ring stuff going on. He's been inactive.
Yep.
You mentioned his last fight against Benavidez Jr. He didn't look too good in that fight.
No.
So I'm sure if you pull 100,000 hardcore boxing fans, 999,999 will pick Canelo easily, and the other one might pick a draw because he's just to be different.
Now, the intriguing fight, the money fight, would be on not Cinco de Mayo, but the Mexican Independence Day, which would be in September. That would be the likely date they would fight. That's what he's done in the past. Would be against Bud Crawford. Now, does Bud Crawford does he fight in the meantime before he gets to that fight? Or would that be his first fight of the year? I don't know. I mean, I think he would be best served to get somebody, and it doesn't even have to be Errol Spence. It's just somebody to stay busy with that still has a name. Bud is that good. He still gets that same guy out of there. He gets to Canelo. All odds are against him. The storylines are going to go through the roof. All the buzz he's gotten from the Spence fight is going to come. All the squares, just because it's Bud Crawford, they still know about Canelo. They're going to get caught up on the Canelo slipping. They're going to probably put their money on someone like Bud. I mean, logically, you wouldn't. But, man, Bud has given me no reason to believe that he doesn't at least have a shot. Staying away. He's a good conditioning. He could stay away and just box. Keep Canelo spinning. Canelo's going to keep coming because he can. But he also gets tired. And if he keeps getting hit, it's not like it's not going to hurt. I give him credit for his chin. He's had a great chin throughout his entire career. But when it comes down to Bud just using the angles, changing for southpaw, going back to orthodox, all of those things, it still takes one shot.
Right. But if you think about how Charlo performed against Canelo, you got to think Bud's going to do better because Charlo didn't even try. He didn't really even try. Bud's a dog. He may go out on the shield, but he's going to give it a shot. He's not going in there to survive.
He's a flat-out dog, no doubt.
Exactly. He's going to go in there. He's going to try and put in work. He might get caught, but at least he's going to put in some fucking effort.
Well, we got the comments right now. O'Connell saying that it's a cherry pick. Yeah, that's a cherry pick. I guess you got to call both of them a cherry pick. The reason why? Well, because Charlo fought the way he fought last time. And then now you're fighting a guy as great as Bud is and going to the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest to ever live, especially in the weight classes and things he's done in his career. Well, he's coming up 3 classes. That has to account for something in terms of, that account for something for him being great. But taking a guy 3 classes down when the Benavidez fight is what diehard fans want.
Right. But shout out to Carlos. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I don't think the other Charlo twins going to put up much of a fight either. Like we already mentioned, the out of the ring stuff. I don't think he's there mentally.
No, he's not.
I just don't think they talk about Lions only. I haven't seen Lions in a few years from those guys.
Bro, exactly. They haven't been. You know what? Oh, I almost forgot about the Lions only. In fact, it's so ironic. Just a couple of weeks ago, one of my old memes about them, when they didn't have such a great fight, they had them coming with those lion outfits. Then they had the next picture with the lion with a perm. He looked like James Brown. They were saying that was the Lions.
The girls from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Carl said, we're here, baby. And of course, yeah, he's here to talk a little boxing. Carl knows his boxing, by the way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, just something we had to talk about today. This is big news, and it's only going to get bigger when it gets more validity to it. You know how boxing is. Give him a little leg and pull it back. Shakur Stevenson talking about he doesn't want to fight anymore. What is he and Tio going to have their retirement parties together? They're not going anywhere. Get out of here with that.
Right. He's 26.
26 years old. Not even in his prime just yet. Not even.
It's got to be some type of ploy, man. people avoid him like the plague, but they talk shit about him. You look sorry in your last fight. Well, then get in the ring and fight him. You know, I don't know.
This is just one of those deals where I think he's an old school guy in his mind. He's so frustrated with what boxing has become today, with everybody doing things online, everyone's saying all these things. I've been reading so many comments from people who know boxing, some people who just follow boxing. You know, Billy C, who knows his boxing, been in the game for over 40 years. He was talking about, he sees where he's coming from. He said, you know what, this guy is a serious boxer. He wants to fight the best of the best. He's not getting it. And the powers that be aren't allowing him to do what he wants to do. Get in and fight the best fighters. Fighters need to go back, like Billy C said, they need to go back to having boxing as their trade. Exactly. You're making a living off of boxing, acting like it's your job. They'd rather be on social media. Ryan Garcia, these other guys rather be on social media than in the ring.
Yeah, guys don't want to prove they're the best anymore. They just want to talk like they're the best, but they go for the best bag or biggest bag, least risk. And, you know, that's not going to leave much of a legacy. So I can see Shakur being frustrated. Maybe he felt like Hagler after he lost to Leonard. I'm just done with boxing. I hope that's not the case. You know, he's a young guy still. There's big fights out there for him. It's just a matter of him actually getting the fights.
Yeah, but at least Hagler had decades in the sport, not a couple of months.
Yeah, I know.
Call it a career.
I'm just saying that he probably feels somewhat
the frustration
how Hagler felt, right?
Yeah, the frustration of guys. And you know what? I don't think he goes anyways. I'm thinking this is just a ploy, as you mentioned, because this guy just had a bad outing of his own. You don't go out like that with the talent he has, the ego that comes with that talent.
Yeah, his pride won't let him go out.
His pride won't let him do it. He says, you know what? I'm just going to go out and train young fighters and just bring the next generation along.
He'll still be here, just not a fight.
Bro, get out of here. You're going to be in the gym with the mid work, and then you're going to want to get in the ring, and from there, you're getting back into the ring.
But, you know, but talking about other fighters avoiding him like the plague, even Tank's trainer said, why would I put him in the ring with that guy? He's not going to look good against him. Yeah, you know he's got the best plus minus in the game, and he's going to box circles around Tank. He knows it.
See,
Tank, now, I know Tank don't believe that, but his trainer does.
See, now we got people coming out in boxing today saying that kind of a thing. That was never a thought back in the day. I'm not even talking about the 4 kings or even the 5 kings if you want to add Mike McCallum. Or go back back in the day when fighters didn't say, I don't want to fight that guy because of his style. You had to fight that guy. First of all, having all of these championships and titles is the reason why you're able to even do that nonsense, because if you don't get one nonsensical title, you're going to get another nonsensical title. If there was only one, that's the only road you had to follow. And if that was a tough guy, well, that's what you had to endure to get the title. Now guys are just saying, we don't want to look bad against this guy. And then in the next breath, they're telling you, we'll take on anyone in the world. This is the nonsense we're hearing in boxing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very frustrating. You know, it used to be 2 belts, and then Larry Holmes lost, and the IBF gave him a belt. Who had even heard of the IBF? So then there were 3 belts. And then the WBO slowly creeped onto the scene. Now there's 4 belts. And now that you got super champions, you got diamond champions, you got
emeritus champs. Bro, regular champs. Regular champ, I thought that was a champ.
Right.
So and then Larry Holmes didn't lose. He actually got that IBF title. You know what I mean? Bob Lee gave him the IBF title. He was the one who kind of validated the IBF title. And then he carried it, and he eventually lost that title to Michael
I thought he lost it. I thought they gave it to him after he lost to Spinks.
Oh, no.
I was a young boy back then. I don't remember.
He was the first one to get the IBF title.
I know he got it. He was the one to get it.
He validated it. And here's Carlos again saying Shakur's just like Tio with that. And we know that already. We already mentioned that part. So, yeah, that's
the only difference I'll say is Tio and Haney have more similarities with each other in the fact that I think they're both delusional. You know, Haney acts like he knocked out Lomachenko, like he knocked out Kambosos, like everybody's scared of him. You know, his dad talks a lot of junk. You want a split decision. It wasn't exactly dominant.
I won, but I didn't beat him, as you said. That's what he did.
Tio seems to forget he lost to Kambosos. You know, and they say he had the condition. He was lucky he didn't die. Okay, we'll take it at face value. But Where's the rematch? Go get your rematch, man. Beat
Now
his
you got
ass.
that both just fighting Lomachenko now. Those two getting together.
I'm just saying, you can't talk you're the best as you got a loss here, and this other guy saying, "Oh, nobody wants it with me," and you want to split decision over an old Lomachenko.
Yep.
I mean, come on. 5 years ago, I know Haney were too young. I don't know if he beats Lomachenko.
Man, now if Lomachenko was younger based on what
but if Haney was the age he was when he fought Lomachenko, but Lomachenko was 5 years younger, he don't beat him.
Loma's just a special fighter. I don't know why people don't want to give him his credit. I heard someone the other day say he shouldn't go to the Hall of Fame. He only has like 12, 13 fights. He has about 20 fights now. But regardless, the way this guy was even able to come in and get a title shot in the second fight, went to 12 rounds, got roughed up by Salido, but he eventually had won the championship. His skill set is like one of the few skill sets we've seen in boxing, and being a southpaw compounds that issue. But going back a little bit, what Carlos is talking about, Tommy and Duran ducked Mike McCallum.
Mike McCallum?
Yeah. You know what? There could be some validity to that.
You can say they all ducked Mike McCallum. They all ducked him because none of them fought him.
You know what? The only one I can really say that probably had not ducked him was Marvin Hagler. I heard somebody just literally today say that Marvin Hagler ducked Mike McCallum. Marvin Hagler didn't duck anybody ever. I mean, if you want to say he was duck somebody,
I don't know if he was at 160 when Hagler was champ at 160.
What do you say now? Mike McCallum was 154.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he was at 160 yet for Hagler to duck him.
Oh, no, exactly. But you know what? He was always able to move up. And the storyline I saw is what Mike McCallum couldn't. Marvin Hagler was ducking Mike McCallum and Julian Jackson. I didn't answer the Julian Jackson one because he got knocked out before he even landed his big shot. I mean, Mike McCallum ended up beating him in 2 rounds, even though I thought it was an early stoppage. But Mike McCallum is somebody that was definitely a serious fighter. It would have been a tough fight against Hagler, but as Hagler has always done, especially before he got old against Mugabe, he got them out of there. So I'm not going to go, Mike McCallum is, man, it sucks that he didn't get a chance to validate his entire career along the other great fighters that were in his era. He was kind of just left on the outside, but I don't think it was on Marvin Hagler's behalf. It wasn't because they were ducking him. I think it was just one of these deals. You're a prize fighter at that point in Marvin Hagler's career. This guy wanted money. Sugar Ray Leonard had that big money fight. Tommy Hearns had a big money fight. Mike McCallum wasn't doing that. He wasn't bringing that kind of money. So with that, in that regard, after what he had done to get that title, fighting in 50 fights before getting a title shot, this guy deserved to make his money and choose who the hell he wanted to fight because his title run was probably not as tough as his run to the title.
Yeah, Mike McCallum, he's probably the top 10 most underrated fighters of all time.
Shit, man, he might have raised that up a little bit.
That's
definitely underrated.
I thought he beat James Toney myself.
They fought twice. He beat him. I think he did.
I thought he beat him the first time for sure.
But God, he shouldn't have been beating him at all. James was young.
Yeah, he was probably like 38, 39 already.
That's what I'm saying. And then he moves up to light heavyweight. He wins up there. I mean, this dude was a beast.
That dude
went to the body, mercilessly went to your body, man. He was just he was that guy. I remember he knocked out Donald Curry, just laid him out. I mean, come on. I was just watching a video today of Donald Curry knocking out Milton McCrory. And then to see, and then you think about what happened to him when he got caught by Mike McCallum with that left hook. Just iced him. That's it. Over.
Yeah, Carlos says skills pay the bills.
Yeah.
They sure do.
They do. And that's what I'm thinking. A little bit on that side with Terrence Crawford. He does have the skill to pay the bills, but I do know how it is. And in terms of weight, we talk about fighters, even Charlo that went up, Jamel, who went up just a couple of classes, and the difference there with the power and how he felt when he got hit with that power. You saw his eyes. He was like, bro, I don't want to be here. So imagine moving up 3 classes. Sometimes you don't have a say in the matter when you get hit in your freaking face by those kind of big dudes. You don't have a say so anymore.
So you mentioned earlier, will Bud fight before September?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see because if he knows he's going up 3 weight classes, he may come up with a regimen on how to put on weight correctly. Whereas if he's got to make weight at 154 or 147, that's going to slow down his process of putting on weight properly in September. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm saying if he fights himself in May, he could probably go up 2 weight classes in preparation, test drive that new weight, see how you feel, and then for the Canelo fight, do the rest of it. Get that last weight class in there. See how it works out.
Yeah, fight somebody at 160. Who's there?
Somebody who's not going to really disrupt what's going to happen with
they have. Obviously.
I don't want to see him going in with somebody that's going to just throw everything out of the window. And I'm sure as great matchmakers who have
Triple G still at 160.
Who?
Triple G, is he still at 160?
Yeah, bro. You know what? That would be a name.
Right, Triple G, beat his ass, send him into retirement, set it up for Canelo. He could say, look, I knocked him out when you couldn't. You had 3 chances.
And as Carlos is saying and continue to say, he says he thinks that Crawford's going to get laid out by Canelo. Bro, he's not wrong for saying that because that seems like the way it should go naturally.
Right.
You know, it's hard to see that Canelo that Crawford will get knocked out, but when you think about the circumstances and how many classes he has to go up, it matters, man. 3 weight classes freaking matter. 1 weight class matters a lot of times.
Right.
And Canelo's heavy-handed to begin with.
Yeah, like I said, he could be boxing well, get caught by left hook, and night's over.
Now,
I mean, we don't know if he can take power from a 168 fighter.
And Carlos is mentioning how he got dropped by a machine. You know what? I think some of these knockdowns that Terrence Crawford had against in lighter weights, a bit careless, a little bit careless. I think if he fights Canelo, the eyes are wide open like an owl. This dude's not trying to make any mistakes, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's going to be so calculated in what he's doing because he has to. He has to know his distance. He has to know the geometry of that freaking ring that night for sure. He can't be in that zone where Canelo can really lay those hands on him. I mean, he may have to really do something on the inside that for too long. He can't stay there too long. He's going to have to throw probably 1-2 punches to get the hell out. He's not going to have to try to get position because that could be the end.
Right. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I saw the video. I haven't really seen a press release confirming that, but I'm sure they wouldn't have said it if they didn't get the information from a credible source.
Yeah, exactly, man, because I know it's not like the internet these days where you'd rather be first and right.
It was like a 15-minute clip where Stephen A., he talked for like 7 minutes. He's pissed off. He wants to see the Benavidez fight. And then Shannon Sharp replied. So, again, if it wasn't credible, they wouldn't have been talking about it.
Yeah, they would have been saying something. There's definitely a buzz out there. In this case, where there's smoke, there has to be some fire. And it's been talked about enough. And Bud has never come across as a dude who just said things for the hell of it. You know what I mean? When he was interested in doing something, he's the one who came up with that I want to fight Canelo deal. It wasn't Canelo saying it. So when Bud says it, man, I give it a little bit more credibility than when these new dudes saying what they're saying. Oh, I'm going to fight this dude next month, and the fight never happens. Or even when Mayweather saying he was going to fight Manny Pacquiao, and it happened 6-7 years later. But when he says he's going to fight somebody, if you give him the opportunity, he's going to fight because he would have fought Errol Spence if he had the chance earlier. Yeah. Anyone he would have had the chance to fight if they were someone worth fighting, he would have fought them if the opportunity was there. Other fighters decide, oh, no, I don't want to fight. They bring up some issue. I got this going, or I can't fight right now. Back in the day, they said you never turn down a title shot. Now dudes just turn down title shots because there's 10 more left. There's 10 more left.
That seems to be true, man. Real talk.
Let me see.
What you saying? Crawford versus Janabek.
Yeah, Janabek, yeah.
It could be somebody not somebody that doesn't pose a real threat to him.
Somebody who makes it interesting, but doesn't destroy it. And these matchmakers, and I learned that over the years, these matchmakers are extreme, the great ones at least, the good ones. They know exactly what they're seeing. They know exactly when to fight somebody. Like the matchmakers who were making Tim Zhu versus Keith Thurman. You can see why they're doing it. People on the outside just might think, man, Keith Thurman still one time, even though he hasn't been one time in like almost 10 years.
4, 5, 6, 7 years.
He's hasn't been that. But people remember the name. They remember him because he keeps chirping. So you just go by what he's saying a lot of times. You just forget about his last outing, if it was a bad outing or good outing. And you just think about that. And matchmakers know this is when you do it. Let's make that move. Tim Zhu should have him. This is his first fight at 154. Everything points to Tim Zhu, but the name makes people think there's a real chance for Tim to win, for Keith Thurman to win.
I'm just glad he's not fighting Clarissa Shields.
Man, he didn't want that. Man, you know what? Clarissa Shields, I don't know what to say about her.
But I'm with you. I think Tim Zhu gets him.
Yeah,
he hasn't shown much for a long time. I remember he was talking shit to Manny, saying he has short dinosaur arms, and blah, blah, blah.
Beat and knocked down.
He got knocked down by his little dinosaur. What the hell?
And I remember the days when he was getting folded up by body shots by Luis Colasso. An old Luis Colasso folded him up with a body shot. And my man didn't want to be in that ring. He ended up toughing it out and getting out of this, and that was cool. But still, man, Keith Thurman getting that last payday is all good. So, hey, move on with that. But the big story is why we came here today. In an emergency session, Canelo decided his 2024 boxing scene, his boxing schedule, not necessarily people we wanted to see, but I guess with the intrigue involved, everyone wants to see that Crawford fight. I mean, even though they would like, boxing fans would like to see Benavidez, I think mainstream is where you get that money from, because the small boxing core who paid for boxing and the mainstream who really puts it over the top, that's how you get your bigger money, and that's where it's going to come from with Crawford.
I'd have more respect for him even if he fought what's the kid's name, Morrell?
Oh, Morrell, yeah.
Or even Berlanga over Charlo. Come on,
man. Isn't Morrell going to fight Munguia?
Probably, but Munguia just fight.
Yeah,
I don't think that fight's finalized. Well, fight Munguia too. Either one of those two.
Yeah, but
But to have another guy come up a weight class, has outside the ring issues, got slapped by Caleb Plant.
Bro, a lot of mental issues going on there, man. Getting divorced, or has he been divorced? I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
He has so many, and that could be a problem. You know, Tio had battling for his kid was on his mind. That's why I picked against him. I didn't know any of that. Then I find out later on he'd been going through it, and I know what that can do to a fighter's mind, especially if you're legitimately in a kid's life. You know, his freaking father and your mom is putting you through it. I can see how that can just tear you apart. I've seen it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that part. So that's why I picked against him, man. He just getting worse and worse from performance to performance. All that stuff was out of the way. Came in and just schooled Josh Taylor.
Carlos helping us out. He says Munguia versus Berlanga and David versus Morrell.
Bro, that's a fight card you can dig.
If they put those on the same night, man, that's card worth.
If it's in Saudi Arabia, it's going to happen in the same night. You know how those fight cards they put out there? Money means nothing to those guys. They'll pay the site fee, overpay fighters, and just have a good card, just to kind of hide their human rights policies. We got good fights. We didn't kill her yesterday. That's it. But yeah, man, that's a hell of a card right there, though.
If anybody close to Canelo comes across this video, help him find his balls, man. That's all I got to say.
The search party is out. The flashlights, Sherlock Holmes, they're all out there looking for his balls. Come on. Matlock is going to put him on trial. Come on, what's going on? Hey, but anyway, we can shut it down right now, man. We've been here for almost a half hour, but able to get this much out of the half hour, because if this is a real story, which looks likely when you look at the sources who kind of sort of in a surreptitious way, you confirmed it with Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp. Yo, there's something to it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. With something like this, that may be the case. And we'll be talking about this like crazily once it's solidified.
Right.
I mean, you know, Andre the Boxer and I, we still plan on going out to Omaha, Nebraska just to check Bud out. I mean, within the next couple of months. Yeah, I just told him about that.
Don't ask him to sign anything.
Oh, no. We just showing up the respect. We showing up the respect. Go to his gym. Probably might just get some sparring in there, if anything. So, yeah, that's what we plan on doing.
Hey, we might have to get Carlos on one of these shows. Get his.
Man, I've been asking Carlos to come for a minute.
Instead of just chat messages, get on screen.
Bro, he knows his boxing. That's one thing. I mess with him, man. But the dude knows his boxing. He can be on the panel because I've asked him to come on the panel. Carlos, get on the panel. But yeah, but he knows what he's doing.
He has a question.
What? The thing I have a problem with is if they say Canelo is fucking David.
Yeah.
But we can say the same thing about what David Duck and Morrell. What's your take? I don't think David ducks anybody.
Yeah.
Benavidez? That dude's a dog, man. He's a lot like freaking Crawford.
Has Morrell done enough
to even deserve it? Exactly.
Yeah, that's my question. I mean, I know he's impressive.
It's like Ramirez. We thought he had all the fights and got his butt kicked.
Yeah. I won't say if Benavidez is chasing Canelo, he's not worried about anybody else. So I don't think he's ducking Morrell.
Nah.
You know, so with this news coming out, Benavidez is gonna have to look somewhere else. We have to wait and see if he goes after Morrell or someone else.
And he's saying now Morrell's been hunting him Yeah, he's probably been hunting, but I mean, David Benavidez has bigger fish to fry. I think after what he had done to Charlo, even though it was him moving up, it was at least more people watching that fight that didn't know about him before that know about him now. And now when you look at his record, you see the way he goes about business, bro. And then the Caleb Plant fight, I think he's on that cusp of stardom, and Canelo's going to put him in that light to where if he beats Canelo, now he's the new guy. He gets the baton passed to him, and then I think that's when he'll fight everybody. I'm thinking he'll be one of those fighting champs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So he'll come across.
But if we go all of 2024, Benavidez doesn't get Canelo and he doesn't fight Morrell, then you probably could make a case that he's ducking Morrell.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's still early in the year. I don't think he's not ducking anyone right now.
Nah. I just don't. You know what? There's certain fighters who just don't duck anybody. I know this era is different. So, like Boots, he doesn't duck anybody right now because he's still looking for his own shine. I mean, it's like once they get that opportunity to get that stardom, do they start ducking then? Do they start picking and choosing their fights? Now, you don't have to have every fight as a tough fight if you're going to fight 3 times a year. You can have 2 tough fights, 1 easy fight. You know, you look at what Mayweather did close down his career. He beat Manny Pacquiao, then fought Andre Berto, which had no shot at all. And he was shot himself even before Robert Guerrero. And, you know, you could get that soft touch, but he was kind of forced by Showtime to have that fight with Manny Pacquiao so they could cash out and get that money. So they didn't care what that last fight was. So it was kind of a walk-off shot. Anyway.
Yeah. Plus you had Connor in there. Anyway, yet, let's see. Why hasn't Benavidez applied for the Mondo?
I don't know. I mean, you could do that, but are they going to give it to you? I mean, seriously, just applying for it.
Right.
They don't, you know what?
Like usually, I don't think the boxer has to apply for it. The organization just implements it.
Yeah, but sometimes you apply for it to kind of put the pressure on them, let them know that you're there, even though they already know you're there. You're thinking they're ignoring you. Anybody want to talk some boxing? Hey, we're still here. I don't know. We didn't have a time limit on it. So if you want to ask some questions, go ahead and do so. Right now, Carlos has been a one-man gang, so we've been hearing a lot from what he has to say. So if you got some things you want to say yourself, I see someone else has stepped in. Write it up. Let us know what you're talking about. Our topic right now is Canelo possibly taking on Jamal Charlo and Crawford this year. This is his schedule for boxing. So
May, September. Yep. And I said it's weak as fuck. Making another guy come up a weight class, making Crawford come up 3 weight classes. That's weak as fuck. Weak as fuck. I don't care. I don't care how good Bud is. Making him come up 3 weight classes is bullshit, in my opinion. It's a cherry pick. It's a cherry pick. No, you can't call it anything.
I think it goes without saying that's a cherry pick. I mean, not that I've been defending Canelo, but I've been acknowledging that Canelo is a great fighter. He has great talent. He's fought a lot. He fought a lot of people.
He is. That's the problem. If nobody thought he was that good, nobody would give a shit. I wouldn't give a shit. But you say you're the greatest Mexican of all time.
No, he's not there.
Fucking prove it.
My guy's still number 1.
I don't agree with it, but if you say it and you believe it, well, fucking prove it then. Get your ass in the ring with some good-ass fighters.
Man.
Not dudes you know you're going to win ahead of time.
And personality-wise, Canelo comes across as this guy personality-wise that just he's passionate about this game and he's mean about it. He wants to freaking fight, but then he's not picking the right guys to fight, at least in our eyes right now. And I think it should matter that the fans want to see this Benavidez. And if he wants to still talk about how great he is, first of all, you got to handle that b-ball business again. But then if nothing else, take care of Benavidez or at least give him the opportunity.
Carlos, I don't know why he hasn't applied for the mandatory. Maybe he already knows Canelo doesn't want to fight him and he'd just be wasting his time. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's been calling him out for 2 years and Canelo says he's not going to fight another Mexican fighter. So,
bro, now that's lame. That's lame. Mexican fighters put up some of the best fights of all time. So, I mean, what does he have to directly come from Mexico, or he just has Mexican descent, or what? Right. He's just changing the rules and moving the goalposts as we're moving.
Hey, who knows, man? Maybe 2025 you got Ryan Garcia and Leo Santa Cruz.
Leo Santa Cruz
for Canelo, not against each other. I'll fight some Mexican Americans.
Bring him up, move him up. What's up? He's been winning time. David has been fighting nobody. Really, supposedly he's going to fight what?
Jesse Hart. He's still around.
You know what? I'm about to say the same. I mean, Jesse Hart, Robert Easter, those kind of guys. I mean, Robert Easter, lighter guy, but these are those names you just hear that pass through. Nah, I think the name that Canelo should fight are there. Benavidez is there. Bivol, the rematch is there. But Bivol has another thing that he needs to handle himself with B2B.
Fighting better BF.
Yeah, that's bro. And if you were to just say something early, man, I'm taking Bivol in that fight. This is one of those fights in which skills painted builds is going to be quintessential.
Last year when Canelo said Bivol was asking too much for the rematch, I said that's code for he doesn't want to get his ass whipped again. And to me, he's proving me right. He's not even Bivol's not on the radar. And if he beats better BF, you better damn sure believe he ain't going nowhere near Bivol again.
Let's see now. Carlos again says he just struck a deal with PBC, and David did mention him. Well, I mean, if David's going to mention dudes, I'm thinking that if David wants to fight you, he's going to fight you. But I think he just has tunnel vision with Canelo right now. And
man, Carlos, you typed like 15 messages, bro. I'm telling you, you should just come 16. On the show with us, man.
16 people.
Just come on the show next time, bro.
Well, I'm telling you, man. See, this was an emergency show. He didn't know anything about. He just showed up.
We appreciate the messages and the questions and all that, but you could just chime in if you're on screen with us.
Yeah, he knows. He's a busy dude too, man. He does a lot of things out there in Waco, Texas, man. Like barbecuing, like David Koresh, the whole deal. He got it going on out there. Yeah, man. But I asked him to come in before. He says, "Yeah, I'll get out there." But he's everywhere else. But here, what's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I think this show's gone long enough. What do you think?
All right. So, anyway, we can put a lid on this, man. This is almost like a regular show we've had, but this was just on boxing.
I thought it was going to be like
we did just a boxing show, but this was deeper news, and it's going to get bigger. So, we'll shut down. So
hopefully, Shakur gets a fight with somebody, comes out of retirement.
I know, right?
Same for Teo.
He and Teo have their retirement party. We might get invited. We could be giving them shout outs.
He says, let me know when y'all on again.
Yeah, drop the link.
Drop the link.
Oh, bro, you already know, man. You already know. Shoot, hell, you know what? I'll let you know. Same thing. We'll get in there. Anyway, he's biased. I'm Trav. The Sports Bag Bros podcast emergency session is now going to conclude. Is Canelo going to take on Charlo? Is he going to take on Crawford?
Unless something else happens.
To the questions. We're going to find out.
See you on Thursday unless something else happens tomorrow. We got to come on for another emergency show.
And that's the fact. Peace.